A human's unlikely friendship with an alien family will leave you speechless. The first time I ever saw the sky tear open, I thought it was the end of the world. It was late evening, the horizon painted in bruised shades of orange and violet, when a strange ripple split across the atmosphere. To my eyes, it looked like a wound opening the fabric of reality itself, a luminous scar that revealed a darkness deeper than night. The ground beneath me shuddered, dogs howled, and the air smelled of ozone and fire. I had been hiking alone in the Colorado wilderness, far from cities or distractions. My life on Earth was simple, maybe even lonely. My friends were scattered, my parents gone, and my job as a freelance mechanic barely kept me afloat. Sometimes, the mountains were the only place I felt peace. But that evening, peace shattered. Out of the rift fell something that burned like a meteor, but moved with intention. It didn't crash. It landed, heavy but precise, in a meadow a mile from where I stood. Against my better judgment, I ran toward it, adrenaline drowning out my fear. When I reached the clearing, I found not a crater, but a vessel, sleek silver and scarred by its descent. The ship pulsed faintly like a living thing catching its breath. My heart hammered. This was no military aircraft, no experimental drone. This was otherworldly. Then the hatch opened, and that was the moment my life changed forever. The beginning, the encounter. At first, all I saw was a silhouette against the glow inside. Tall, slender, with limbs a touch too long, and eyes that reflected light like polished obsidian. My instincts screamed at me to run, but something rooted me there. The figure stumbled forward. Its breathing was ragged, labored, and when it collapsed to its knees, I realized it was injured. Its skin, or perhaps its suit, was mottled with burns and slashes. I took a hesitant step forward. "Hey," I said, my voice trembling. "Can you understand me?" The being tilted its head, then gave a faint, distorted sound, like static breaking into a syllable. It tried to rise but failed, collapsing again. Something in me, maybe curiosity, maybe compassion, overrode the fear. I hurried forward, catching it before it struck the ground. Its skin was warmer than I expected and softer, almost like fine leather. Its eyes locked onto mine, and though no words passed between us, I felt something. A plea, silent and desperate. That night, under stars brighter than I'd ever seen, I carried an alien home. The middle, the family. The days that followed blur between fear and wonder. The being, who I later learned was called Reiner, was not alone. His crash had forced him to eject with a smaller vessel, leaving behind his family on the main ship. They were stranded, hidden deep in the forest, their own vessel damaged beyond immediate repair. When Reiner could finally communicate, through a translation device that slowly adapted to English, he begged me not to alert authorities. His people feared exposure to human governments. They were travelers, not conquerors, refugees seeking a temporary sanctuary while their ship repaired itself. At first, I doubted everything. Was this some elaborate trick? But when Reiner brought me to them, I understood. They lived in a hidden valley, cloaked by technology that bent light around them. There, I met his family, his partner Tyrael, dignified and sharp-eyed, and their 2 children, small, curious, and glowing faintly in the dark like fireflies. They were fragile yet resilient, their laughter a melodic hum that resonated through the air. The children were especially fascinated by me. They touched my face, my hands, tugged at my clothes, and asked endless questions in their language until the device learned to keep up. They wanted to know why my skin was so pale, why I only had 2 eyes, why I couldn't leap as high as they could. I laughed more in those days than I had in years. But it wasn't just joy. It was responsibility. Their ship needed rare earth metals to repair. I knew where to find scraps. In junkyards, old mines, salvage sites humans had abandoned. I became their supplier, their bridge to a world they couldn't risk being seen by. And as the weeks stretched into months, we became more than allies. We became family. Conflict brews. But secrets never stay buried. Strange lights had been reported in the mountains. Hikers whispered of unnatural sounds in the woods. Government drones began to sweep the area. My trips to the junkyard grew riskier. Every time I returned, Tyriel's eyes flicked toward the horizon, her worry etched deep. One evening, Reiner confided in me. We cannot stay much longer. The fractures in our ship's core are unstable. We risk collapse. What do you mean, collapse? I asked. He hesitated, then said, implosion, a chain reaction. If it occurs near human settlement. He trailed off, and I understood it wouldn't just be their end. It could be ours too. They had to leave, but the repairs were incomplete. They needed one last component, a power regulator, something too advanced to find on Earth. Without it, their ship would never survive the jump home. I knew then that the cost of our friendship might be greater than I'd ever imagined. The turning point. The military arrived before we were ready. I heard them before I saw them. The hum of helicopters, the rumble of armored trucks climbing the mountain paths. A full sweep was coming. Someone had spotted something they couldn't explain, and the government wanted answers. I rushed to the valley, out of breath, shouting warnings. The family was already packing, their ship glowing brighter as systems whirred to life. Reiner grabbed my arm. Too late, he said. They are coming. I looked at Tyriel, at the children clinging to her legs, their luminous eyes wide with fear. Something inside me hardened. Then, I'll buy you time. I didn't know if it was bravery or stupidity, but I knew I couldn't let them be captured, dissected, paraded as trophies of science. They were more than aliens to me. They were family. When the soldiers reached the valley, they found me standing at the edge, hands raised. This is private land. I lied. You've got no business here. They didn't listen. Guns pointed. Voices shouted. The valley's cloak flickered under the pressure of their scanning tech, revealing glimpses of silver hull. I had seconds, so I ran, straight toward the clearing, leading the soldiers away from the ship. Bullets cracked the air. Pain seared my arm as one grazed me, but I kept running, weaving through trees, shouting, anything to distract them. Behind me, I heard the ship roar to life. The farewell. Hours later, when the forest was quiet and the soldiers gone, I stumbled back into the valley. My arm was bandaged with torn cloth, my body aching. The ship was gone. All that remained was a single object resting in the grass, a small metallic sphere. I recognized it immediately. It was Reiner's translation device. When I touched it, it activated one final message. His voice filled the air, steady but warm. Human friend, you gave us time. You gave us hope. We leave because of you. We live because of you. Remember us, as we will remember you. The message ended, and the device went dark. For a long time, I sat there in silence, tears stinging my eyes. The meadow was just a meadow again, the sky unbroken, the world ordinary. And yet, I was no longer the same man who had walked into these mountains months ago. I had found something I never expected. Family, belonging, purpose. The ending, years later. It has been years since that night. But sometimes, when the stars are especially clear, I look up and wonder where they are. Did the children grow into explorers like their parents? Did Reiner and Tyriel ever speak of the human who carried them in his arms? And sometimes when I swear I see a faint ripple in the sky, like a scar across reality, I wonder if they might return, just to say hello. Until then, I live differently. I no longer hide in solitude. I share stories. I connect with people. I fix things not just for money, but to help others. Because I learned something from them. Survival isn't enough. It's the bonds we make, the unlikely friendships, that give life meaning. And if someday the sky tears open again, I'll be ready. Not afraid. Not alone. But waiting like family does.